The waiver wire is quite interesting as we roll into week 7. We have 6 teams on bye. We have some players injured. Some players exceed expectations last week. And now we got some players to look at and some players to pick up off waivers to help us set our lineups, help us add some depth to our team. And we're going to be looking at 10 players to pick up off waivers right now. But what you need to do is click that subscribe button right now. Stop missing out on this content that's helping you with the waiver wire, helping you win those trades, helping you set your lineups. We're going on deep dives on these players every single day so you know more about them with the advanced analytics and everything else. Hit that button. Stop missing out. Let's look at these 10 players that you can get off waivers today. First one's Chuba Hubbard. He should have been rostered. He should be off waivers right now, but there's too many leagues where he's floating around the abyss still. 74.1% opportunity share at 20 touches with Miles Sanders out. 14 fantasy points. He's been looking good all season. He just needed more opportunity. We saw that with Sanders out. And if Sanders is out some more, then you know what? Hubbard's going to get more opportunity. And he might have usurped Sanders. He might have done that. At least earned more piece of the pie. Think about him. He was a handcuff in this backfield because we saw the pop early in the season, week 1 and week 2. Slow down a little bit, create a little bit of a buying up opportunity, pick up opportunity, whatever you want to call it. But now he's getting some production. He's getting some opportunity. He's looking good with it. Chuba Hubbard, if he's still on waivers, go out and get him. Now we're looking at Rashee Rice. Same scenario here, but he's floating on waivers in a lot of leagues. Even though we keep doing videos on him, we talk about him on waivers every week, but he's the most consistent wide receiver on the Chiefs offense. Last week he saw 4 targets, 10.3% target share, 12.7 on the season though. Ran 23 routes, 50% route participation rate. He's got a lower ADOT, but when it comes to targets, he's being pretty consistent. We're seeing him push 4 targets last week, 5 the week prior, 5 before that, 7, and it's off and on with the production. Usurping 10 fantasy points. We had back-to-back double-digit PPR fantasy performances with him. Before that, it was off and on every other week. So that's a little bit of some consistency that you can pick up off the waiver wire when you're looking at Rice. Now we're looking at Rashawn Johnson. Looks like it's his time to shine with Khalil Herbert out. Donta Foreman and company did not do anything last week. Did not look great. In weeks 1 through 5, he had a 30.6% snap share. That's going up. The opportunity share is going up. Should see more targets as Khalil Herbert was getting targets in the passing game. More routes ran as Khalil Herbert was running like 12 routes a game. More fantasy points per game because he's getting more opportunities. Expect him at least get more opportunities. Expect for him to score more fantasy points. Expect for him to deliver. And then he might hit that upside. And if he does, then you got a back that might win your league for you. Help you out through some weeks. But he's getting touches. He's getting opportunities. He could hit double-digit PPR fantasy points more often than not while Khalil Herbert's out. Now we're looking at Curtis Samuel on the season. He's been okay. 5.2 targets a game, 15.5% target share, matching Jahan Dotson, but he's killing it. 17 yards after the catch per game there, and that doesn't sound like much, but that's enough to increase his fantasy output as he's getting just 36.7 air yards a game. He's getting those short targets. He's getting you a little bit on the yak. 14 fantasy points this week, 18 the week before that, 18 the week before that, so he's on a good 3-week run. He's also seen more opportunities. 4 targets last week before that 7, week before that 8. So we're seeing more volume go his way. Again, you're not trusting the Commanders, but you're not really trusting anybody off the waiver wire anyways. They're spreading the ball around. Terry McLaurin's the wide receiver you want in this offense, but there's matchups where he's going to give you production. It might be a little bit spotty from here on out, but he's trending up. Now we're looking at Jordan Mason of the 49ers, and with Christian McCaffrey with the oblique strain, he could be jumping into more opportunities. It's had a 20% opportunity share last week, 15 snaps, and an 8.7 PPR fantasy points. In the week prior to that, had 12.9. Banger back between the tackles. Could get you something over the goal line, get you some fantasy production. We're also looking at Elijah Mitchell. He's got home run hitting speed. He's coming back from a knee injury. Got a little bit of playing time last week, but expect him to get more as he gets back on track. Expect him to get more opportunities. He's got that home run hitting speed where he can really turn things around for your fantasy team just like that on just a couple carries, because he can do that. If he gets the ball in space, it's a big gain for a touchdown. The yards, the touchdown, all that combined could be a massive game changer. Look for these guys to share the backfield a bit if McCaffrey's out, but McCaffrey could be back too. So you really want to watch the news here. Now looking at Josh Downs, we talk about him every week, but he's still sitting on the waiver wire in a lot of leagues. A lot of you guys who watch the channel have already picked him up. He's a good guy to play the matchups with, and with Gardner Minshew in there, and Anthony Richardson's out for the year now after having that surgery. Downs looks like a guy you play the matchups with, you hope for the best, but he has been consistent in the last few weeks. 13 fantasy points, 15 fantasy points the week before that. That's something to hang your hat on. 6.8 targets a game, 19.3% target share. You're pushing a 20% target share on the waiver wire. That's something you kind of want from your wide receiver. He's getting opportunities. He's seeing targets. He's running routes. He matches well with his quarterback, so he could be an easy pickup for you if he hasn't already been picked up. Now we're talking about Craig Reynolds. David Montgomery's dealing with a rib issue. We don't know how long he's going to be out, if much at all. But last week, 43 snaps for Reynolds, 50% opportunity share, saw 2 targets, 6.3 PPR points. Week prior, 11. Jahmyr Gibbs in the hamstring. It could be Jahmyr Gibbs' season. He could be getting more opportunity as he comes back from that hamstring. He should. They spent the first round pick on him. However, Craig Reynolds could be rolling into some more touches still. They like to use 2 running backs. He might get a little bit of opportunity. He's the bigger back. They want to use him between the tackles probably around the goal line, probably on short yardage. If you're hurting for touches, that could be a running back you could look at. Now we're looking at Wan'Dale Robinson. 6.3 targets a game, 20% target share. You got a 20% target share on the waiver wire. It's easy to take a stab at that, and then you can play the matchups with over the rest of the season. He's getting you 22.3 air yards a game, so he's getting some of those deep targets, and he came back from a knee injury in week 3 because he tore his ACL last year, finally coming back, and he instantly started getting workload, even on limited routes and snaps as he was ramping up. Daniel Jones saw him out there, and they're like, hey, Wan'Dale's back. Let's start throwing some targets. We're going to have to watch his trends for the rest of the season, but in plus matchups, you can play with them in your lineups if you're hurting a wide receiver. Now we're looking at Zach Evans. A very interesting situation as we're looking at the Rams here in the running back depth chart, as both Kyren Williams and Ronnie Rivers are on the mend now. They're out with injury. They got Devonta Freeman, Myles Gaskins, now Darrell Henderson. So that is telling us that, hey, we don't trust Zach Evans to carry a load. We don't have enough running backs. We need a committee here. But looking at Zach Evans, because he is the hot name right now. He is the guy people are searching for. They're looking at. They're asking questions about. He's a guy with a lot of potential. A lot of potential. 5-star prospect. Looked good on tape at Ole Miss and at TCU. He has a good highlight package, but he's not super consistent. He's a player that's not very reliable. Didn't have very many pass blocking snaps over his 3-year career in college. That's one thing to note. I don't see this team wanting to depend on him. I see this team looking at his upside and hoping for the best, and I see fantasy gamers doing the same. But this could be a thing where you gamble on, and it could run bad on you, but you may want to take that gamble because the upside is immense. However, the downside is very high up there. The downside is, I just want to forewarn you for that. But if you want to shoot for upside, you want to see if he gets some touches, you want him on your team just in case he hits for the week and gives you a little bit more, go do it. Go do it. See what happens. But again, the downside could really bite you. Those are 10 waiver wire prospects that we're looking at right now that people have questions about, people are looking to pick up, that could help you in fantasy, whether you're shooting for upside, something for your lineup, something for depth, something in the future, something to prevent that other fantasy manager to pick up so they don't get better, something that can help you out for the long term, whatever it is. Those are 10 players to look at. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Catch you on the next video.